I'll try not to just talk 8 minutes straight.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 34, year 2. Today we're going to talk about the sad passing of an icon in Kobe Bryant. We're going to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl. We're going to talk about my trip to Cabo, and we're going to have our special guest, 15-time bracelet winner, Mr. Phil Hellmuth Jr., and we're going to talk about our trip that's coming up. The Mouthpiece is next. Okay, everyone, how's it going out there? I did not release Mouthpiece as I always do normally on Saturday because I was going to Cabo on Wednesday for 5 days for a Super Bowl weekend. So I decided to record this today. It's been a rough few days for me. For most people who don't know really me that well, I grew up a diehard Laker fan. I'm pretty much the only team in sports, well, that and the Dodgers, but more Lakers than Dodgers, but Dodgers are close. And then when kind of got a little bit famous in the middle of the 2000s, I met Jerry Buss playing poker. We became really close friends, and so I went to many of Laker games and sat with him in this box and just watched Kobe do his thing for so many years. I mean, I just don't even know where to begin. I mean, in life, you know, there's life and there's death every day, but this hit me really hard. It hit me like a family member. And what do you want, Flash? What? So, you know, I started doing a lot of soul searching and thinking, you know, about, you know, being a diehard Laker fan, how a tragedy like this could happen. Flash, really? Really? You're going to be up here and meow while I'm doing this? Really? You know, I started thinking and all the outpouring that came out, and it really hit me hard, like I was saying. I went to the Karina Jets charity tournament for autism on Saturday night, and I donated $250 to the charity, and I put a lot of smiles on people's faces. I had a good time. Got a few good numbers some people are going to have on the podcast, and it was fun, you know. And I came home, like I was saying, and I was trying to go to sleep, and my sleep schedule was all fucked up, so I forced myself to go to the charity event because I promised Karina I'd go, and I was pretty tired, but I went. It was fun, made some good connections, and really had fun. I came home and I was struggling to sleep. I don't know why, and I finally get to sleep like at 8 a.m, which is with the sleep schedule I was on. I figured I'd be wanting to go to sleep by 8 o'clock at night, but somehow I couldn't sleep, and I get waking up at 10, get this Kobe news, and I couldn't breathe. It was like a family member had died to me. And I know everybody's listening out there, whether they're a Laker fan or not, they kind of felt probably the same way from what the people I've talked to. And I looked at my closet and I looked at my Kobe jersey, and it's the only jersey I've ever bought in my life. And I remember the day I bought it. I bought it. It's a really crazy story, but I met some girl on J-Date in like 2010, and I took a limo to her house, picked her. She was a big basketball fan. I bought her and me a Kobe jersey. We sat in Jerry's box, I was trying to impress her. I really liked her. That didn't work out so well, by the way. She was sure was into me until I took her to the box, and then she was all interested in all the famous people, and didn't really kind of was a little young and immature for me. But I remember we had a good time that night, and I remember she was appreciative, but I didn't like let's just say somebody picks you up in a limo, takes you to a Laker game, and you sit in the owner's box. I think you should be a little more attentive and appreciative of the person that took you there. That person I just felt didn't feel a connection, so it didn't work. But I remember buying the jerseys, and I remember the day like it was yesterday. What, Flash again? Where are you meowing at? Oh, you're below me. So, I started, thinking about the times, and I've told this story before, but this is before everything bad happened, before Black Friday, before my injury, and I was pretty well set for life. I remember the story I used to tell people when Jerry Buss asked me to spend the Western Conference Finals with him in Phoenix, and wasn't going to say no, and the owner of the Lakers asked you to spend the weekend with him in Phoenix for the Western Conference Finals. So I ended up going there, and I remember the shot that Kobe made, like over the outstretched hand of Grant Hill, which is so ridiculous for them to win. Just put the dagger in Phoenix, and he played so good, and they ended up winning the title that year. And my mind was just racing everywhere. I was thinking about when the day I got the Kobe jersey, the date I went on, which was not the greatest date I ever went on. The trip to the Western Conference Finals, the energy of the days that I used to go and hang out, just in Jerry's box and go to the games, and how it was Kobe everything. He was just bigger than life. And my heyday growing up, I was a big Magic Johnson fan. I remember I met him when I was like 19 years old at a nightclub when I had a fake ID in like 1988. Flash, what is wrong with you today? Yeah. So, and then, in 2013, I dedicated my last bracelet to Jerry. God, I can't believe 7 years I haven't won a bracelet. That's a fucking joke. But I made all kinds of final tables. I just can't win them. They're tough to win. So, I remember that. So, my thoughts were just running crazy on Sunday. And it really hit me hard. So, finally got to sleep, woke up, and kind of watched all the morning shows and all the dedications. And people just we all have to remember too. Kobe was our icon, but 8 other people lost their lives. He lost his daughter. 2 other people, mother, father, they lost their daughters. And there's so many people that are left without mothers and fathers and sisters, and it's just a horrible tragedy. So it really hit me kind of hard. This Super Bowl week, I was looking all forward to all the media, all the shit that goes on Super Bowl week, and I really haven't been able to watch any of it or think about it. It's just been on this, today I just didn't want to watch anything. I wanted to get things done because it's just depressing. You got all kinds of bullshit political shit going on. You got this going on. You got the Super Bowl. I'm glad the Lakers, postponed the game today because it was just, I don't even know how they're going to deal with it. But, I have a lot of respect for LeBron. I really believe that somehow, some way, he's going to will them to the title this year. I thought they're the best team, anyways. A lot of people think that this is going to hurt them. I think it's going to bring them closer together, and so we'll see what happens. But this is just a devastating loss for all sports fans, for Laker fans. Even my friend Mike, when I went to that game with those games with Jerry in the Western Conference Finals, like, he went with his son. I couldn't get him in the box we were in, but we were talking about it yesterday, and he's a big Phoenix Suns fan, so Kobe just daggered him at like back-to-back years, knocked him out, and so he used to just hate Kobe, but respect his greatness, and even he told me how shook up he was about it. So. It's that's life. It's that's what I tell people every day, and this is where I've grown so much as a person. Is we don't need to, as poker players, to always talk about the green felt, what's going on in poker, the bad beats, this guy raised under the gun, and my EV was this, and all that bullshit. This is real life, and I think it's real important to really get a perspective on how good we have it every day, and when you wake up, go outside, look at the sky, and be blessed the life that God has given you, because you just never know when it's going to end. I mean, there's a guy that just was, had everything, and boom, one mistake by flying in bad weather, and it's over, and a lot of other people's lives are over. So it's going to be tough to move past this as a Laker fan for a while, but this reminds me a lot when I was about 11 years old, when Thurman Munson for the Yankees died in a plane crash in his prime, and it was, media wasn't like it is today, but it was. I was a dire Dodger fan, but we faced the Yankees in back-to-back World Series, 77, 78. And just when he was like the star catcher of their team, and it was even then. I was like teared up for him, because it was our competition, and he was the man for the Yankees. So, this kind of reminds me of that. It also kind of reminded me when I first heard Magic had the HIV virus. Back then we didn't know anything in '91, and I thought he was going to die. So it was just heartbreaking, but. That's kind of where my life's been the last couple of days. I haven't played much poker. Matter of fact, I haven't played any poker since I last told you guys about my nice win. But I'll be playing down in Cabo on our trips. And I think, as I've mentioned, so I'm going to Cabo. We rented out this big house by a very famous person owns. It's got like 11 bedrooms. It's going to be fun. I don't know what we're going to do. The people who spend extra money for their bedrooms, paying for most of it, which is cool. So it'll probably cost me for the week, 5-day week, probably $1,500, and maybe a couple thousand. But I need to spend a little money on myself. I never do ever. So I'm going to go. We're going to have a good time. Hopefully, I'll make some money playing poker with everyone. And Phil's going to come on the show here in a little bit, and he's going to talk about, kind of what the plans are, and, kind of what we've been talking about. It's it's a tough week, I think the thing everyone out there that listens to just remember, life is so precious, and when you think things are so bad, people have told me this for the last 5 years since I had my surgery, and I always cry at how bad things are, and they're just not that bad. I mean, can you imagine what those families are going through? So. Anyways, it's time for my pick of the week. we won last week to get to 7-13 on the football season. It's not very good, but we did win last week. And remember, at one point we were 3-9, so now we are 7-13. That makes us 4-4 in the last 8. That's not bad. We're moving up in the world. I'm going to cut this short because me and Phil talk a lot about the game in our interview. I'm just going to tell you what straight out. I'm going all in. I'm not betting, but I should say all in. I'm going all in mentally on the Kansas City Chiefs. I know I think Frisco might have a better team, but I think it's Kansas City's year. I think it's Mahomes' time to shine. I just think the quarterback situation favors Kansas City so much. It's going to be a great, great game. This should be a last second. I see it as a 3-point game, one way or the other. I don't know. It should be great. So I'm going with my pick of the week, Kansas City Chiefs -1.5. There you go. Also, if you're at a Super Bowl party this week and you want me to do any cameos, go to cameo.com/Mike the Mouth. I charge $20 a cameo, which is nothing. I just do it more for fun. And I take the peanuts of money and donate it to charity. So anybody out there want some cameos for the Super Bowl parties this week, hit me up at cameo.com/Mike the Mouth. And I'll be more than happy to do a Super Bowl intro for y'all. I'm going to be in Cabo, so you might get some fun cameos from me and Phil at the same time. Even though he charges a lot more than me, I might get his drunk ass in for a cameo. So anyways, we'll be right back with our phone calls coming up next on the Mouthpiece.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matusow on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live.
It's time for our phone call segments. Let's see what our fans have to say this week. Let's light up the phone lines. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mikey. What's going on?
Mikey Matusow, what's going on, boss?
Who's this?
This is DJ.
What are you doing, buddy?
Oh, nothing. Just watching all these interviews talking about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it anymore.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I talked up my podcast this week. Pretty much the whole segment was about it. It's hard, especially me as a diehard Laker fan, and I have no words really. It's
really, I mean, there's just nothing really you can say about it.
Yeah, I tried to just to kind of come from a little bit from the heart today, how I felt, and it should make everyone out there appreciate their life a little bit. In other words,
right?
We don't have it
and
that bad.
If you got problems with people,
right? Exactly.
Just break that off.
Exactly. But if you have difference of political opinions, don't worry. It's just bullshit politics, man. It's like like everything. It's like it's crazy as it sounds when you see something of this kind of magnitude of a tragedy happen. You should appreciate your friends a little more, appreciate people, appreciate life, appreciate how good we have it. Because, man, can you imagine these families without their fathers, their mothers, their sisters? And it happens every day.
Terrible.
It happens every day, but this guy was a global icon, so it's it's something that touched everyone. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even eat on Sunday. It was so bad. So,
see me, I'm from the Kobe generation. I'm 27 years old, so he's always been a big idol of mine. I was never a Lakers fan, but I was always a Kobe fan.
Right.
Because I don't care what anybody says, anybody that's ever played the game and plays the game to this day, I don't believe anybody plays the game with more passion than he did.
Right. And, it's good you said that, because I've talked to a lot of people that when we beat them in 2009 and 2010 and good friends that were Suns fans when they went to Western Conference Finals, and they were always Kobe fans, but they hated the Lakers. And it's kind of like me, I always hated all the teams LeBron was on, but I was always a LeBron fan because I respected greatness.
Right.
And then he came over to the Lakers, and there's a lot of things I disagree with him about. I think he's a hypocrite, and that bothers me, but he's a great basketball player. He's
a hell of a ball player.
He's probably the greatest of all time. He's going to probably go down as the greatest of all time. The guy's 6'6", 260. He could do things that nobody else could do with a basketball. He's just a freak of nature.
6'8", 260 and moves like he's 6'3", 210.
Yeah, and he's just.
And I'm from Ohio too, so
yeah. So I'm glad he's on our team, and I hope they're. I thought they're the best team this year, even though a lot of people say Milwaukee, but I think he'll pull the team together from this tragedy and really have them focused to try and win this year for Kobe. We'll see. It could tear the team apart. I don't think it will. I think that LeBron is too strong of a leader, basketball-wise. So it should be interesting.
Plus, they know Kobe. Yeah. Kobe'd say, boys, keep on trucking, get that ring.
Exactly. So,
but
who you like in the Super Bowl? Who you like in the Super Bowl?
That's exactly what I was about to ask you. You know what? I'm from Ohio. I hate the Bengals. I hate the Browns. My stepdad, back when I was 7 years old, he was always a Chiefs fan, and I've been a Chiefs fan ever since. So I've been waiting on them to go to this damn Super Bowl for 20 years now.
I got them as my pick of the week. I think it's their time. I think Frisco might be the better team, but I just think it's Kansas City.
Well, hell, Mike, it's been 50 years.
It's Patrick Mahomes. I can't.
He's an animal. He's an animal.
Just can't take Jimmy Garoppolo over Patrick Mahomes.
No.
And they showed they could they were able to shut down Henry last week. That means they're going to be able to shut down the Frisco running game somewhat. And and people don't realize, I've said, Kansas City had the second best defense in the league the last 7 weeks of the season. And in the both playoff games, after the middle of the second quarter, when they were down 24-0 and 17-7, they gave up 7 points the rest of the game in both games. Their defense is a monster. It's very underrated.
I'm a firm believer that we're a second half team.
I just know. Well, if they fall behind 10-0 at Frisco, they ain't coming back double digits from Frisco. I don't care what Mahomes does. They're not coming back double. They're going to have to come out and at least play. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. A lot of people think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think defense wins championships, and people say, well, then you like Frisco. I'm like, well, not really. I mean, Kansas City's defense is just as good as Frisco's. These are the two. Kansas City's defense healthy now, and Frisco's defense healthy are probably the two best defenses in football. Beside the Patriots, maybe. And
any sport you play, defense wins games. Offense is just for showing off.
I agree. But Kansas City's defense is not getting the respect it deserves. And if I thought
we're not.
If I thought Kansas City's defense was so like Frisco's was so much more superior, I'd be all over Frisco, And maybe it is, and if it is, Frisco's going to win the game, But I just don't see it. I just think it's.
That's what we really worked on this offseason was building our defense up.
And it took them 6 games to figure it out. And once they've done it, right, their defense has been the number 2 in the league the last 2 months of the season. And then, like I said, in the playoffs, they gave up 7 points the last 2.5 quarters in back-to-back games. So, and they're the only team they were able to shut Henry down. When they were down 17-7, and Henry had 62 yards halfway through the second quarter, I told my friend Mike, who he has a lot of money on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I said, "You're in big trouble." He goes, "Yep." And then they stopped him and stopped him and stopped him. But he was on pace for another 150, and if he would have got that 150, Tennessee would have been in the Super Bowl. And somehow they figured out how to stop him, and I think they'll do the same with Frisco. But who knows? Who knows? This is
the only problem with me about the 49ers. Okay, Henry, we stopped him, but he's an up-and-down runner. He's a fucking Mack truck.
Right. San Francisco has a lot of movement.
He runs a 4.2.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
And he's quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be I don't even know where. It's going to be a great game. I just know that.
It'll be a dogfight.
If somebody blows somebody out in this game, I mean, I don't bet sports no more anyways, but I will be in complete shock if somebody wins by double digits. Total shock.
Well, I know I've been waiting on this for 20 years, and if the Chiefs lose, I'm probably going to cry about it. Well, literally cry.
But I think it's their time. But what do I know? I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm the worst of the worst. So
a lot of stuff can go wrong in the game of football.
I think Frisco's got the better defense. I think they got the better offensive line. But But if you look at, I think that Kansas City's got the better weapons and the better quarterback, and I don't know. If
we got them by numbers.
I just don't know if they could get to Patrick Mahomes. Even if they get the pressure on him, this guy outruns everyone and then throws it downfield, sidearm, running away from the ball, and lays it right in the guy's hands. So, I mean, this guy's something. Which I can't wait.
If he keeps this up, he'll be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play.
Well, I mean, I've been on this earth for 51 years. I've only seen this guy for 2 years. He is the best I've ever seen. And I don't even think it's close.
He is MVP for a reason. So
I mean, he does things with football I've never seen anybody do. But you never know. He's also one hit away from career over, so you don't know. But if he stays healthy, I think he's going to go down as one of the top 3 quarterbacks that ever lived. So we'll see what happens.
But I mean, a lot of his throwing techniques, all that sidearm and stuff, that was because his dad was a professional ball player, and he was always on the baseball field.
He was a pitcher also and a shortstop. So I mean, everything he's done, he throws a lot of the shortstop sidearm, a lot of the deep balls from his pitching. I mean, his daddy was a hell of a pitcher, So
yes, he was.
It should be interesting, So anyway, I appreciate the call. Excited. Enjoy your Super Bowl. Don't drink too much.
This is my second time calling. I always enjoy calling in.
I appreciate you calling.
All righty, well,
take care, my man.
You be safe and have a good one.
Peace. Later.
Peace.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike. This is Garrett. How's it going?
Good, buddy. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Just had a quick question. Me and my brother and a couple of our buddies have always, I know it's funny, not funny to you, but, when you lost the Kings versus Aces against Lazar, the guy who was, I don't know, behind you on your rail, he tells you won the hand.
No shit.
So, you have it or you got it.
Yes.
And I always told my brother, if you ever did that to me, I'd fucking disown him for life. And
I'm like, Tom, I'll never forget. It's funny you bring that up because he's my best friend at the time. His name is Matt Lefkowitz. We don't talk much anymore. Not because of that, just because it's a long story. But I went in that corner and I just said, just tell me what happens. And he said, I know he said, you got it. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
That's what I heard later when I watched the replay.
If you watch it, And he says, no,
Yeah.
I said he got it. So that was even more emotional for me. And I was still able to come back and get chips and pick Danneman
Right.
off of a bluff. And I mean, honestly, if we play that final table 1,000 times, I'm going to win it probably 990 and finish probably second, 5 more, and finish 9th once. Like, literally.
Yeah. Conversations, especially at that time, is just, there was no other way.
What's really amazing is ESPN, when they did the interview with me before the final table, I told them, as long as I don't pick up kings versus aces versus one of these goofballs, I'm going to win. I'm surprised they didn't play. And in the second hand off the deck, they did it to me. And if I just would have lost too, I mean, I still was mentally focused. But in between hands, I kept thinking about it.
It's way different, yeah.
If the king never comes, I never think about it. I just stay focused in between hands. You know what I'm saying? And
of course.
It didn't affect my play. I still thought I played great after that. But I'm glad you said that, because I argued with my friend forever that he said, no, I said he got it. I said, no, you said you got it. And finally somebody calls me and agrees with me. That's what he said to me. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and exactly. It's obviously he didn't do it if he's your best friend.
He didn't do it on purpose.
He's not trying to do it to tell you. He's not trying to trick you or like play a joke on you at that point.
But I know what I heard, and he kept denying it.
We heard the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I've never watched a replay of that ever. Because it was so gut wrenching to me. So
of course,
I'm glad that somebody who has watched it.
I wanted to call in, but other times you've been talking about football, and I just was like, yeah, it's not really. Obviously, it's not.
All right, who you like in the Super Bowl? Who you like in the Super Bowl?
I'm a Niners fan. I grew up in Santa Clara, so I live in Vegas now. But
do you think you're a Niner fan? Do you think they're going to win?
I think they have a good chance. It's a pick 'em, you know.
No, it really
is. Are right.
Yeah, it really is. I bet
against the Chiefs. They've been down 2 touchdowns or more and stormed back and covered easily twice. It's like
what? It's crazy as this sounds. It reminds me of like the Patriots. You either bet the Patriots or you don't bet the game. To me, it's like you either bet the Chiefs or you don't bet the game. I mean, I just think Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy. I think he's something that we've never seen before. And but defense wins championships. Right. But I also know Kansas City's
Niners
defense
were perfect in the Super Bowl till Kaepernick blew that one. I mean, it wasn't all his fault, but Niners have a good record in the Super Bowl too. So
no, they're good. I think that they have a better team in all but maybe 3 positions. So, but those 3 positions are pretty big positions. So, it's going to be a great game. I just, I don't know. I just think it's Patrick Mahomes' time, but I might be. What do I know? That's why I don't bet sports no more. So,
I saw a nice prop. Just quick, now that you mentioned it, more receptions. Travis Kelce versus what's his name? Our tight end.
Oh, Hill Kittles. Oh, I'd say Kelce all day long.
Only minus 150, and I feel like that
sounds like a trap,
obviously.
right?
There's no loss.
No, I mean, that's about right. I mean, 150 is about right. I mean, he's probably, that's 230. He's probably 66%. So that's Kittles will catch balls. I mean, Kittles is good. Great.
Of course, yeah. No, they look for him, but we're going to be running it a whole lot more than they're going to. They're going to be throwing it. We're going to be running it.
And I disagree. I think the only way Frisco wins the game is throw the ball because they're going to key on the run.
Then they got no chance.
I disagree. I mean, Garoppolo had a lot of great games. It's not like he's a bad quarterback, you know.
No,
I just think
I'm super happy with them as a Niner fan, but I'm just.
He's just going to have to.
If we're going to win, we're going to need to run the ball pretty effective.
But they're going to have to. They're going to have to be effective on play action. They're going to have to do what Tannehill did. What Tannehill did to Baltimore, and what Tannehill did to New England, which was play action over the top touchdown. They're going to have to throw deep on play action, and if they don't complete passes on play action, they're just not going to win. But I think they will. So it's going to be a close game. I think Garoppolo is going to have a big game, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't. That's why the line's 1.5, and I don't bet no more. but it's going to be fun to watch.
Exactly.
All right, my man.
It's going to be a good game to watch.
I appreciate
Thanks,
you
Mike.
calling.
Have
you
a
got
good
it.
one.
Peace. Later.
Take it easy. Good luck.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. Is Mike. What's
Hey,
up?
Mike. This is Jeff Davidson from Chicago. How you doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Quick question. This is more about bankroll management.
I used to be really bad at that, but I'm getting good at it. It took me. It only took me 30 years, but whatever.
Yeah. So my thing is more, I'm a professional in Chicago. I make a good living. I play poker for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love poker. Basically I play limits that I'm very, very comfortable
That's
losing.
smart.
Right, but the problem is it doesn't fulfill the gambling itch. A win means almost nothing, and a loss doesn't mean much.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what Doyle Brunson told me in 1998 when I just won every day. Played like no higher than 100. Back then it was all limit, so I played 100, 200 limit hold'em. I was like top 3 in the world. Then I played as high as. Then I learned how to play Omaha 8. I played 400 in that. And Doyle Brunson said to me, he said, Mike, he goes, what are you going to do with all that money? Playing small, win every day. He goes, you got to play high enough to where you lose, you can feel it. And I didn't know shit about poker. I knew I won. I was good at it. So, Doyle Brunson, it's Doyle Brunson tells you something, you got to listen. So I jumped in the 4-800 mixed games and lost like $250,000. And I wanted to jump off off a dam. I was like, okay, good advice, buddy. You got me real good, But you know what? The truth of the matter is, for many years, he was right. Once you get, like, I've been playing high lately, but I've been selling huge pieces of myself. So basically, I'm not playing that high, but I need that rush. I'd rather play for 25% and play high, where I get that rush. Which is the same as playing, my own money for $7, like way cheaper. But it just I forgot how much fun it was to play high stakes poker, and because I've been grinding for the last 3 years, and now playing high is fun. If it's not fulfilling you a little bit, and you got a pretty good bankroll. I say step it up to where when you win you feel good, and when you lose you feel shitty. You got to have that. You need that game. Listen, we're all sick fucks, so we get just as much. People don't realize this; they won't admit it, but it's a true story. You get just as much gratification out of losing as you do winning. I know that sounds crazy because you feel like crap when you lose, but you have that feeling. So, we all want to win, and winning feels better. But you do need to have that feeling. I would say to move up in limits and.
And I appreciate that. But
just don't lose. What you can't afford to lose. No.
The problem is playing in Chicago. The casinos have they don't even have what you would consider medium stake games.
Well, direct message me. I'll. Do you follow me on Twitter?
Yeah, I do.
All right. DM me on Twitter. I'll tell me, and then let me know what size games you play in Chicago. I have a lot of connections.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I make, without disclosing, I make in the mid six figures a year, and playing 2-5 for $500.
So
I can't even acknowledge how little it
I could get you in 50, 100, 100, 200 no limit games where if you lose 20 or 30,000 or win 20 or 30, a couple of games. I just have some. Let's just DM me and I'll see where you want to go, and I'll give you some phone numbers, some good games in Chicago. Actually, I've got some good hookups.
I appreciate the time.
You got it, my man. And who do you like in the Super Bowl? Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
I already got 7K on San Francisco.
Okay.
But clearly, I don't like anyone, to be honest. I think this one's up for grabs.
It is. I feel the same way. And
It was just a normal game, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, with 14 other games that day, this was one I wouldn't touch.
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. I got a gut feeling Kansas City's going to win, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Frisco won. I think it's a toss up. I think the total might be too high. I think San Francisco's defense is a monster, and I think Kansas City's defense is a monster. They were second best defense in the NFL the last 7 weeks of the season. And if you take away the two terrible starts they had in the playoffs, they gave up 7 points the last two and a half quarters of both games. So that's I'm leaning a little bit more towards the under, but I got no side really either. All right, well, enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a great week, and thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
The Mouthpiece.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. Today's guest, 15-time bracelet winner, Mr. Phil Hellmuth. What's going on, Phil?
Life is good, Mike. You know, I'm just trying to make sure that I get the right amount of sleep and rest. And, you know, bro, I have a crazy week. You and I are going to Cabo.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a lot of fun. Then, for me, I'm hopping on my friend's jet from Cabo to Chicago on Monday. And then Monday night I'm playing poker. Well, we'll see. I mean, probably penny ante poker, or maybe not poker, but I'm flying to the governor's mansion in Illinois to hang out with J.B. Pritzker. Mostly it's the dinner and games. We'll see if there's any poker.
All right.
And then
so
kind of a fun week for me. Then I'll spend 4 or 5 days in Chicago, and then I'm on my friend's Falcon 900 to Vegas. Chicago guys are coming to Vegas to meet me anyway.
All right.
So fun week. Maybe, Mike, we'll have a seat for you. Maybe we'll have a seat for you in our poker game next Saturday night in Vegas.
That'd be nice. So let's just kind of talk a little bit about current events. I've talked this week a lot about Kobe. You're a Warrior fan. You know me. I'm a diehard Laker fan.
First of all, you and I were both diehard Lakers fans.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I started hanging out with Jerry Buss in the 80s.
That's true. But
I went to so many games. I sat in Jerry Buss's box with him. I used to go with him in the Forum when Jerry Buss had the worst seats. I couldn't understand why he'd be sitting 40 rows up behind the basket.
Oh, really?
And I'd needle him and Frank. I'd be like, "What are you guys doing?" This was when I was at the Forum. You have the worst seats in the house, and they always had a nice reply. They'd be like, "Phil, the only place in the stadium you can get alcohol," and they'd laugh. And every time I'd needle them. And then you and I both sat with Jerry a bunch.
Yeah.
You know, when he built the new stadium. And so, I mean, I was a Lakers fan, number one. And then my friend bought the Warriors.
Yeah, okay.
And then my friend bought the Warriors, and then I became a Warriors fan, number one, since he bought them 10 years ago.
Right.
Because I've watched him Joe Lacob build the organization from the ground up. And, you know, I started sitting on the floor with him all the time when they weren't good.
What kind of emotions came across you when you heard this news, though? I mean,
oh my God, Mike, dude, I've been a little depressed for a day.
Well, I couldn't sleep Sunday, and Monday was real bad for me too. This really hit me hard. You know, becoming good friends with Jerry, going to all those games. I didn't know Kobe personally like everybody else did, but
Mikey, I mean, you were depressed. You couldn't even sleep, right?
I couldn't sleep, yeah.
And, you know, did you watch ESPN? I mean, I put it on Sunday.
Yeah.
And for 2.5 hours, they only talked about Kobe.
Yeah.
And it was just such a huge global story.
Yeah.
And I think one reason why is we have somebody so strong, so vibrant, so young, who, you know, was a hero to a generation of the next NBA players and known for his hard work ethic. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was just, I mean, it's just hard to see somebody like that leave the planet, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and his kid and all those other people. It's just so many people's lives destroyed. It's just really sad story, you know, but, you know, that's part of life, you know. It's just, it's what I kind of tell people on the podcast all the time is is stay humble, which you're not the greatest at, but it's okay. But try and stay humble. Try and stay humble. Try and live life every day like it's your last, and try and make the best out of it every day. I mean, this is...
You know what else, Mike?
It's really
like, I bet you called your parents yesterday.
I talked to my brother. I called my dad, and it just, and then, on Sunday, it just, there's a preciousness of life. No, there is, and it goes to show. You
start thinking of the people closest to you.
Yeah, it really it brought a lot of the country together. Like everybody in the country was feeling the same for the first time in 10 or 15 years. Like everyone felt the same heartbreak. And so it was very depressing, but it still is, but it gives you a real good outlook on the things that are important in life and the things that aren't, So
yeah, and to your point, Mike, we all kind of put politics aside for a day, even though there's a huge impeachment trial going on. I didn't hear any talk about that.
Right.
And we all just kind of thought, wow, what a huge loss, for the world to take. And, and how precious is life. And I mean, I don't know, I was very happy to play poker with my friends yesterday. I lost the biggest number I've lost in a while, 46,000. It hurt a little bit, but we're now playing pot limit Omaha. Yeah. And just a swingier game, and I talked to you about it. And
you took some beats.
Phil, it's just... No limit hold'em, I have so much control, bro. Yeah. I've been winning so much money for so long that I've been, too cocky.
Yeah.
And now with PLO, which I know a lot of the PLO players that love it like to call it the great game. But my mind's been working really hard in PLO. And the one thing I like is, since we're playing a lot of PLO, maybe pick up a bracelet in PLO because,
I think you got a couple seconds in PLO, didn't you? I remember one. A long time ago, back around 2006, I think you got a second.
I think I had a 10th and a 9th, or a 9th and an 8th, and two PLOs in like 06 back to back.
Yeah, okay.
And I remember one of them. I had ace, king, queen, and it came king, queen. And Robert Williamson somehow had a set of kings, case two kings. So
beautiful.
There went that final table.
Oh, it's all good. So we're getting ready for everybody out there that's not listening. So that's listening. not that for everybody out there listening. So me and Phil and a bunch of Phil's friends that we've all kind of become a kind of a group type of thing from Florida in November are all going to Cabo.
Yeah, Jason Otto, John Green, Timmy Belsner, Poker Ho, who a lot of people, some people listening to this podcast will know. D-Moon Girl, she's such a baller to join us.
Yep.
Her husband's like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Chad Power, Brandon Cantu. It's a really great group of guys. And Cabo's going to be fun,
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a good, it's a good vacation, and we're going to watch the Super Bowl. We're going to watch the tennis late at night. We're going to be gambling. We're going to have a lot of fun. What's your take on the Super Bowl? It's going to be
fun. John Ferraro is going to be there with us too. I'm not remembering all the names because you just called me and said let's talk.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. I think we're going to have a lot of fun down there. I come in Friday. I'm going to have a few drinks Friday night for sure. We're going to play some poker Saturday now.
What about this?
There was a game down there.
You said I got an invite to the game with your little.
You probably have an invite. We're probably going to play 50 and 100, or probably 1 and 2. With I like to call the group the Chicago Billionaires, and some of them might be worth $300 million, not $1 billion. All right, whatever.
If I can pick up
I call a billionaire somebody who's worth. But there's going to be 2 or 3 of those guys, but we don't know. I mean, what if there's only 3 of those guys? We might have 4 or 5 of us. So we don't know what it looks like exactly. But
we're going to be playing a lot of small poker. Probably 10, 20, all of us.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 5-10, the ship has sailed on that. That's what we've been playing for 20 years, and I mean, it's time to kick it up a little bit. I mean, everybody in that group plays 100, 200. I don't know.
There's got to be a little bit of pain. Somebody's, we got to beat someone out of 10,000 and just laugh at them. I mean,
yeah.
10. I was talking with them. Yeah, I was talking. I'm like, you guys are all my friends. I go, my goal for the week is 20,000, which is about 1,000 and 1,500 a person. This way, I don't beat you all for too much. They're all laughing. So yeah, we're gonna keep it small, and if you guys start straddling and re-straddling, then I'll be selling pieces of myself because you guys get crazy. But then I'll have to make.
Now, Mikey, let's talk about the Super Bowl, my man.
That's what we're gonna talk about. What's your take on the Super Bowl?
I just think the Niners have such an incredible defense.
Yep.
And, and I think that the NFC is tougher than the AFC, again. Yep. And there's no Bill Belichick this year. So the X-Man is Mahomes, right?
Right.
Because Mahomes could win the Super Bowl on his own.
Right.
I mean, they have the two toughest tight ends in the league, one on one side, one on the other side.
Right. And I'm agree with you on this. And
I think that then this is what I see. What I see is the Niners defense is going to put a lot of pressure on Mahomes. Now, if they get him a bunch of times, I think they're going to win the game, and they might get him a bunch of times.
Right.
Mahomes is going to have to use some preternatural ability, which he has. He's going to have to escape a few times. If he does escape a few times, he's going to find somebody open because that's how good he is.
But I
think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mahomes from the San Francisco defense. And I think San Francisco wins this game.
And I'm going to give you this is what's great, that me and you are always able to debate things and talk things. My take is close, but I'm going to go with Kansas City, and I'll tell you why. Okay? So Kansas City, going into Week 17, was going to be the 3 seed, have one road game and one home game and 2 road playoff games to win the AFC. Then Miami beats New England, and they get a bye. Then the Tennessee beats Baltimore. They end up getting both home games and going to the Super Bowl, in which they looked amazing in both games.
Don't tell me you're trying this team of destiny stuff.
I do believe that Kansas City is a team of destiny. And
okay, so listen, folks at home, you can bet on Mikey, who is a team of destiny. Mike's actually a very smart football guy, a lot of knowledge.
But I'm going to be calling if I do bet anything, which I probably won't, but I might have I might bet 500 or 1,000. It'll be on whatever the sharp guys that me and you kind of call up, and if they agree on it, we'll bet.
Yeah.
Because I'm just giving you my opinion right now, because it just seems like Mahomes is the Kobe of football. Like, the guy's 24. He's I think the greatest talent I've seen in my life, and he's only been 2 years. The throws he makes.
But you like Lamar Jackson as much as you like him.
I did not. I went against Lamar all year, and the only reason why I finished so far down in our league is because I put a 9 or a 10 against Baltimore every fucking week, and then I finally went for him, and they took a shit. So no, I think Lamar Jackson's going to be good, maybe great, but he's going to have to learn to throw a lot better. I mean, Mahomes has all the tools, and but the thing is we yes, I agree with you too.
Okay, stop. So Mahomes does have the tools. We agree on that,
right?
And the interesting thing is this, Mike. This is what you got to ask yourself. To me, now here's the beautiful thing about sports, because how many times has the best team in the league won the Super Bowl? Well, I've asked this question to the best sports bettors in the world, and they say, 30%? I'm like, 30? I was expecting 40 or 50. But so often, the best team in the league, at least 50% of the time, does not win, and does not win the Super Bowl. And so, we know there's a lot of luck. So then the next question is, if they played 20 times, how many times, 20 times in Miami, how many times, if you could just rewind it each time, how many times would San Francisco win? And how many times would Kansas City win? What's your opinion?
Well, here's the thing. San Francisco's defense, when they got all their players back, which they do now, is a monster, and we know that. The defense is a monster. But what people are overlooking on Kansas City is the fact the last 7 weeks of the season, they were the number 2 ranked defense in the league, only behind New England. And the fact that their schedule was much
I didn't
tougher.
know that.
Yes, and their schedule is much tougher. And in the playoffs, take away the fact that when they were down 24-0 and they were down 17-7 to Tennessee, the middle of the second quarter on in both games, the defense gave up 7 in both games.
Yeah, it was just some impressive comeback performances there, to be honest, right?
But the people don't realize how good the defense was. They held Deshaun Watson to 7.
All right, Mike, so answer the question: How many times? If you played 20 times, how many times does San Francisco win?
Well, that's a tough question because I think San Francisco's got a better team at every position but quarterback, and wide receiver. So it's football, the games are won in the trenches.
So what do you think? 10-10? You think 12-8? What do you think?
Oh, I'm going to go with, I think it's a game's a toss-up. I'm right around 10-10, 11-9.
And the odds makers have it at 1.5. So the odds makers would probably say that Kansas City wins 11.
Yeah,
and San Francisco wins 9.
Yeah,
I think it's the opposite. I think it's probably 12-8 San Francisco. But that's the maddening thing about sports betting.
Yeah,
that's
why I don't do it no more.
Millions betting.
Yeah, that's why I don't do
Mike,
it no more.
Mike, can I tell a quick story?
Sure.
For this, I think it's appropriate.
Sure.
Okay, Mike Matusow and I. Was it 03 that LSU played Oklahoma, or 04 or 05? Do you remember what year?
It was 04. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Whether we're right or wrong, that
03.
game was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, this is going to be nice. I'm going to invite Mike the Mouth Matusow and another friend. I'm going to pay for their airfare. I'm going to pay for their hotel, and I'm going to pay for the game because I'm making a lot of money, and I want to treat my friends to a fun weekend.
Right.
And then the site I was working for also had a contest, and so we brought a random person with us. So 4 of us.
That. Yeah.
Now, the amazing thing about that is that I hit the street, the day of the game, which I believe the national championship is at Monday. Mm-hmm. I hit the street looking for tickets. I was trouble buying them, and I got a phone call from Don Nacy.
Yeah,
Don Nacy, an old-time – you know him.
Yeah.
And any of the old-school poker players know him. He's a dealer, really nice guy.
And we were always going to get tickets. It was just a matter of how good of seats we were going to get, so.
I was going to buy tickets no matter what, and I was out there looking around and, hoping to get them for $500 a ticket. Was willing to go $1,000 a ticket. I had to pay whatever because I invited you guys there.
I think it was like a couple thousand, right? Or no, we got them cheaper. That's right. I remember. That's right.
Don Nacy calls me and he says, Phil, I had met him at the bar randomly, and we exchanged numbers and had a nice time and had a drink together. He's like, my family is involved with Oklahoma football. We have 4 in the friends and family section on the 50-yard line for you.
Yeah, I remember that.
At cost. And I said, Don, I can't accept at cost. He's like, no, cost. And so I wound up paying whatever. Maybe cost was $300. Mm-hmm. I wound up giving him $500 a ticket because I couldn't accept cost. Mm-hmm. It just was too good of a deal. Now we go there, and now we're sitting in the Oklahoma section. And national championship game, we'd been out on the town the night before. The whole town was painted red, Oklahoma. And so I was expecting – but remember, this is a home game for LSU. Well, the stadium was 3/4 LSU, you might remember.
Yeah, and I liked LSU until we got our seats.
We get a phone call. And they say, our biggest play of the decade is LSU. We'd all bet Oklahoma.
Right.
So all of us switch our bets. And for me, I was betting $5,000, my biggest bet. For me, that's a huge bet at football. And you were betting like $20,000 or $25,000.
Oh, yeah.
And we all switched immediately, and you said, it's a team of destiny, Phil. They're destined to win. We're in the friends and family section.
We're in the middle, 50-yard line in the Oklahoma section.
It's destiny. You screamed it's destiny. You bet $25,000 on Oklahoma against the pick of the decade for these guys.
That's what I
And Oklahoma lost. They got murdered.
They did
right?
get murdered.
LSU had Nick Saban as a coach.
They got crushed.
And And your free trip ended up costing you $25,000.
Of course it did. That's the story. That's why I don't bet football no more. And the thing is,
I would tell you this, Mike. Forget destiny. Just look at the facts, man.
Well, I just think that, Andy Reid is a great offensive mind. I know for sure that Mahomes is going to get 24 points off the San Francisco defense. Now you have to ask yourself, will San Francisco – I like the under. So you're thinking – I'm looking at 24, 21 right in that area. Can San Francisco score 28 against the Kansas City defense, which has been number 2 in the last 7 weeks, and gave up only 7?
Anyway, Mike, we've had a nice talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to score 24.
Let's give everyone an insight of what our plans are for this 5-day fun Cabo. We're not going to tell anyone where we're staying, but we're staying in a nice 11.
Yeah, we rented out a famous house.
Yes.
And then the guys are like, we'll get chefs too. It's not that expensive in Mexico, so we have chefs on call 20 hours a day down there.
Right.
And the house was like $12,500. The chefs are another $2,500. It's $15,000, but there's like 8 or 9 bedrooms.
Yeah. And the good news for me is there's 3 single bedrooms, and everybody bid on them, and Phil bid the highest for the top bedroom because that's what Phil does, and and so the rest of us.
I spent $3,400. Another guy spent $2,700 and just canceled, but he knows he owes the money, so he sent me a check.
Yeah.
So. You're right now. You're rooming with Poker Ho.
Oh, so
Poker Ho used to be an integral member of our group.
Who canceled? Scott.
Scott canceled.
Oh,
and Scott gave his room to John Green. But
okay.
we haven't decided yet. We may just make somebody bid for it because that makes more money into the group. We may let John Green keep it. We haven't decided yet.
If you let my buddy Ben come with us, that's another person, and he's a good guy, man. Seems like we've lost like 3
Ben's
people.
great, but when we set this trip 2 months ago, we said, hey, we're not going to really invite a lot of people last minute.
Right.
We're just going to stick with this group,
right?
And and see how it goes. And it's kind of like the poker game last night with my friends. We had 6 of us,
right?
And we had 2 people. One guy that me and my friend Rick Thompson, Ricky T, were pushing to get into the game, and really good guy, and then one of my friends is like, what? It's like family here.
Yeah,
it's guys that have been playing together for 10 years, and the energy in that room last night was incredible. Right? Unfortunately, I lost big, but it was just so much fun. It's like family. So, we're starting to get a little bit more of a family atmosphere with this group.
Yeah.
Before we consider new entrants, we had to kick 2 people out of the group, as we won't mention any names. But
and it just and now Chad, I'm just worried because Chad, he waited last minute to get his passport, and he doesn't know if he's going to get it on time. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun either way. So.
Still going to be a really fun weekend, Mike.
The Mouthpiece.
Another episode is over. Episode 34, The Mouthpiece, is in the books. It was an interesting week. I'm going to Cabo on Thursday with all the boys. I'll be back Tuesday afternoon. I hope you all have a very safe and happy Super Bowl weekend. And don't eat too much, don't drink too much. And I'll see you next week here on The Mouthpiece.
The Mouthpiece.